Neighbor, neighbor, is your boy Trini Trent, and I'm in the mood to talk again. You know, as I said in a previous video, I spent most of the last year basically in my own little world, in my bubble, minding my business. And in that time, even though I was navigating a lot of the stress and the pressures of the COVID-19 pandemic, which is still ongoing, I have to keep reminding people of that. Even though I spent a lot of that time, navigating those stressors, it also gave me the opportunity to get immersed in so many of the things that I actually enjoy. So now that I've resurfaced, I've decided, you know what? Let me share my top picks for the best of 2021. I was like, I've had all these great conversations and so many things that really had an impact on me. And I think it's a great time now to share those with you. Now, this list is just about my opinion. It is not law. I am not declaring anything. I'm not saying anybody's better than anybody else, any album better than any. And listen, I know how people take these things personally. You understand? I am just here to share my opinion on the different visuals and of course on the music based on how it impacted me and the impact I think it had on the wider popular culture. That's all. That is all. That is all, as the mighty sparrow, our great Calypsonian, would say. So to do this, I've split things up into 11 categories. Yes, I said 11, not 10, not 12. I know people like to see even numbers and that going to stress them all out. Hard luck. I am rolling with 11. 11 categories that really will allow me to cover a wide range, really split things up and flesh things out in a very easy way for me. And I hope that you can follow along and enjoy them. So first up, we have the documentary of the year. And I have to give this one to Crack, Cocaine, Corruption, and Conspiracy. This is a Netflix documentary. Now, I love a very good documentary. It really is something very exciting when I can see how people use archival footage and piece it together with interviews and narratives and really help to tell a story, trying to give the widest view of a particular topic or a particular time, really helping us to understand what happened in a certain period of time. I love those type of conversations. And this one in particular, Crack, this one really got me excited when I saw the trailer because it was about understanding the impact of the rise of crack cocaine in America, especially looking at what it did to minority communities, specifically the African American community in the 1980s. And what this documentary did for me is that it changed the way I looked at the rise of crack cocaine and how I spoke about it, how I thought about it. Because, we often refer to it as a crack epidemic, but in reality, it was more of an insurgence. And this documentary really helped us to understand the wider impact of crack cocaine on America and how it really came to be, how it really got started, and how they're just looking at how it's framed within the context of white supremacy and the alleged role of the American government, the role of different individuals in this entire situation. And, in my mind, I pair it with something like 13th, that other great documentary, understanding the privatization of the prison system in America and how Black and brown people, specifically we talking about African American people really, and how they are funneled into the prison system of North America. And I felt like this was so, so powerful. I was thinking I would love to see stuff like this here in Trinidad and across the Caribbean. But for now, I think that this Crack documentary, it really hit the nail for me. So it's documentary of the year. And that takes us to the second category, series of the year. I have to give this one to Genius, Aretha. Now, I saw the Aretha Franklin movie starring Jennifer Hudson, and then I also saw this series. I actually watched the movie first, and then I got into the series. And I won't compare them here. I think that needs its own space, its own conversation, its own video. But what I would say about this series is that I felt that given that they had more time and the work that they did really trying to piece together the narrative that formed Aretha Franklin's life, I felt that they really showed me Aretha. Now, I'm a big fan of Aretha Franklin. I have been a fan of Aretha since I first saw Aretha Franklin's face. It was at the 1998 Divas Live. The first time I heard Aretha was actually years before with Deeper Love. I think that was like 93. But I'm a big Aretha Franklin fan. So for me, when I was watching this series, I was looking for all the little Aretha-isms. I was looking to see the glimmers of Aretha. I knew certain things that happened in her life and I wanted to see it play out on film. And I felt that the series really captured a lot of that. Of course, there's going to be some stuff in there that may not have always been perfectly accurate because Aretha herself was not involved. But I felt that they did a really good job of putting this together. They captured so much of Aretha's personality. And I've had so many detailed conversations about this series over the course of the year. So for me, it's the series of the year because it just really brought me in and had me thinking and going back to it over and over. And it really showed us one of these great Black icons in not the full breadth of her life, but it took us really far. And now the movie of the year. This one is actually nothing too deep and too serious. This is actually a very fun movie. And this is Black Widow. I did not expect this movie to be so funny. I did not expect this movie to be so enjoyable. I thought it was going to be kind of serious because, Black Widow as a character, she was generally kind of serious. And, she passed away in the Avengers movie, in Endgame. We have no more Black Widow. So I thought that, it was going to be kind of dark and kind of sad. We're going to look at her childhood and how she became who she was. But when I watched this movie, I found myself screaming, laughing. I found myself screaming, laughing. Each character brought something. Just the little jokes and the way that they would poke fun at each other. The little shady moments. Just the way it was all put together. It was laugh out loud funny from start to finish. I think that of all the Marvel movies, this one made me laugh the most. And I had such a great ride. It is up there as one of my favorite Marvel movies. And it is definitely my movie of the year. And since we're talking about visual, something visual like a movie, we could transition, a nice little segue into talking about the music video of the year. And I will give it to That's What I Want by Lil Nas X. Now, I'm not really deep into music videos as I used to be because music videos to me, they used to be an event. And, so many videos in the past used to tell stories. And I'm not going to be one of them old people who say everything in the past was better and all the young people don't know nothing. No. But I'm just saying, storytelling in music videos, it's not always as present. And sometimes now it's done in such an abstract way because everybody's trying to be cutting edge. Or so many people, I should say, it's almost like Tumblr. Everybody's trying to be really super artistic, but you're watching it in a music video form. And you don't always get the point. But this video for me told a story, and it's a real story that so many people face, especially in queer communities. Engaging with someone and then this person is actually on the DL and has a whole separate life that you know nothing about, and it's crazy and it's bacchanal and it's drama. And listen, I felt that he told us a story, and I was engaged from the very start of the video to the end of the video. And it was such a breath of fresh air because, some of the music videos that are out right now, they're all about glamour shots, or it's all about sometimes it's choreography, but they don't really do that type of literal storytelling. It doesn't really make me feel like, they've added anything to the song. And I felt like he did that. I actually started to like the song more because I liked it, but now I really liked it even more because I knew what it was about. And I felt that it deserves the video of the year title. There's a very weird bird outside my window right now that I can't shoo away. It's making a very weird hooting noise. I don't know if you could hear it. And of course, there are other people in the house who are talking very loud, and I can't help that. But we just going to power through, all you know. And people say all the time that they can't hear the background noise anyway, and they think I'm crazy, and I'll just be making stuff up. So let me just power through and just pretend nothing happening. We are going in to the Song of the Year category. And at number 3, I have to give this one to Gucci Frames by Asian. And I'm talking about the live orchestral performance of the song. Now, I have to give a friend of mine some credit right now because he's going to message me and cuss me out and say, Trent, where's my credit? I have to say big up Craig because Craig is the one who messaged me from the start of the year, throughout the year, to tell me to go and listen to Asian. But this particular song, this did it for me. It really is something. I love the way she sang it. I love the way she approached the music, and I love the way, it's just a swag to it. It's such a swag. It's a mood. It's a vibe. But at the same time, you felt there's an emotion there. There's a venom. There's an anger under the surface because of how she sang, with just those moments of crescendo and just the way that she just brought a presence over the music. It's my number 3 song of the year. The number 2 song of the year. Now you're probably wondering why I'm going on a list here instead of actually just naming the number 1 and done the story. Because there's so many songs that came out in 2021. It's in every year there's so many songs. And I felt like I've been listening to so many. So instead of just highlighting one, I'm gonna give you 3. So that way you could get a sense of what I've been listening to because I've been gone for so long. But my number 2 song of the year is Girl Like Me by Jasmine Sullivan and Her. Or is it H-E-R? I've only ever seen her name written down. And I don't know what the young people call her, but I call her Her. You understand? I go read it. I felt that this song, I love the way they did it because what really caught me was the fact that, Jasmine, she was telling this story, and within the context of the album, it really is even more impactful. She's telling this story and trying to share the experience of what it's like to be a Black woman and you're being rejected for who you are, for somebody who is basically just a shallow representation of Black women. It's just about the body, it's just about the hair, it's just about the attitude. It's not about the substance. And it's almost like she's lashing out. She's telling the story of someone who's lashing out and saying, you know what? You just bypassing me for these other girls. So I just gonna forget being this good girl nonsense. I just gonna be a hoe. And sometimes that is how you feel. And I really listened to the song and I love the way that she sang it. I love the way that Her came on the track. I'm not going to try and imitate the way they sing because I ain't doing all them runs. But I felt that the song was just really well done, especially coming on to the end when Jasmine just lets out and she starts belting with all that distortion on her voice. I felt that she was bringing a grit and a feeling there. It felt like she was just fed up. It was just too much. It was such a much, as Iana Van Zandt would say. She had enough. And I really love the way that it all came together. And my number 1 song of the year goes to Toni Braxton. Toni Braxton. Working with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis on the song Happily Unhappy. This is from Jam and Lewis Volume 1, their debut album that Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis put out. And this song, when I heard it, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I love Toni Braxton. And the way that she sang this song, almost 30 years into her career, singing like this, and the way that it builds and the melody is just cascading and just coming at you in this beautiful way. It feels like the song is washing over you. And then, of course, she gets to this beautiful climax. And the subtlety in the way that she does things. Toni Braxton is in a space that very few people are, in my mind. And I just love the way that she performed it. And it's such a beautiful record about such a real feeling. And you don't even realize how long the song is because she really draws you in and the music just takes you on this journey from start to finish. So that was my number 1 song of the year, Toni. But what about soca music? Now people might be saying, Trent, you're always talking about all these American pop songs. What about the soca you're living in Trinidad? That's why I'm giving soca a space by itself. And I'm going to name my favorite soca song of the year. I'm only giving you 1. The reason I'm not giving you 3 is because honestly, with the lockdown and stuff like that, I just couldn't really dive fully into soca because it was kind of sad. We had no carnival. Things shut down and I was feeling kind of low around like February into March. I wasn't in the best headspace. But my favorite soca song of the year, I have to give it to Urfanals and DJ Private Ryan with So Sweet. Now, this is not groundbreaking. This is not a game-changing soca song. It doesn't have, oh my gosh, the music, the drums, the brass. It's not all of that. This is a simple, what I call a skin-out song. This is a song to take in a party. You're in a corner with somebody, you cock back or you rock back or you whatever, and you get on bad in a dark room. That is what this song is. It's as simple as that. It is just for fun. I love the way that the melody comes at you, and I love the way that he sings it. And I think that Urfanals, I love the way that he performs his song. I just think it's just one of those songs that you just want to hold on to somebody and dance and whine. And that's the energy I got from it. Now, the way I've consumed music over the last year hasn't just been music that was released in 2021. With streaming, you could jump around and listen to music from any year, any decade, any period, any era. And I wanted to highlight one of those songs, give a special honor to what I'm calling the throwback song of the year. Now, this particular song is not much of a throwback. Somebody might cuss me and say, Trent, why are you calling this a throwback? It only came out last year. But I'm still highlighting it because it's my video. This song It's called Don Dada by Cakes the Killer and Proper Villains. It came out in October of 2020, if I'm not mistaken. It just missed the mark. But this song for me was like an anthem throughout 2021. When I came across this song, it was somewhere around like June of 2021, and it just became an anthem. I was just pumping through the streets. I go in from a jog. I working from home. I do whatever I do. And this song is just, ooh, that's the way he delivers it. And rapping, I-N and a G, rapping. Cakes a Killer. Something special. I love this song. I love it. I love it. It's from his Motherland EP, which came out in 2020. I highly suggest that you go listen to it. Speaking of EPs, I have to highlight the EP of the year. Now, usually I don't really dive in too much into EPs. I'm an album kind of guy. But albums these days are like 26, 27, 28 songs long. People releasing 50-song albums. People just releasing any madness because they're trying to capitalize on streams and get those equivalent sales. Is a whole gimmick. And EPs have become the new way to consume music for me because it's normally like anywhere from about 5 to 8, maybe 9 tracks. And I feel like, you know what? If you could be succinct and tell me a story in that piece, in that pocket, I good. And the EP I'm highlighting is something I mentioned earlier. That is Asians, the interlude orchestra performance. It's basically where she's doing a live performance of the songs from, I think the name of the previous EP to this was the interlude. And she's doing like a live setting type of performance. And she sings it so well. And you know what's interesting? After Craig get me on the EP, you know, I have to big up my friend Craig, give him his credit. After Craig put on the EP, I was talking about this with one of my other friends, big up Brandon, and we were talking about this EP, and I know I was highlighting the fact that this is one of the times, those instances where you can hear how clearly Beyonce is having an impact on the younger generation. Now, I don't know if Asian really is inspired by Beyonce for this, but when I was listening to it, I could hear so much of Beyonce's approach to music. You know, Asian sings in it's like almost musical theater meets classical. She's a very well-trained, well-studied type of voice. That's what I'm hearing. And she's singing with, you know, this degree of crescendo and understanding where her voice can go and how to build to a moment and how she moves through her head voice. It's very, very pretty. She's a very, very talented singer. And as I'm listening to it, I'm hearing those glimmers of Beyonce, you know, from like the 4 era to self-titled. And I'm hearing that in there. And maybe it's just a coincidence that they sound alike, but I really could say that if I was to sit down and say, where am I hearing Beyonce in the younger generation of artists? This is a good example. And we could only follow the EP of the year with the album of the year. And for that, I'm giving it to Lil Nas X Montero. You know, so many artists get hyped up. They get all this praise and they get all of this media push and, you know, all the retweets and all the trending whatever on social media and everybody's talking about them. But then when they actually put out music, it's like, this it? This is what the hype is for? This is what all they couldn't stop talking about? But in this case, I felt that Lil Nas X delivered. I felt that he put together an album that really told a story. And I felt that he really showed us where a young Black queer person is in 2021. He really did a great job. The music is good. The writing is good. I felt like it was well produced. It didn't sound cheap. It didn't sound like he recorded this in a bathroom. And at the same time, it didn't sound like it was all production and nothing else behind it. I felt like he created a great record. And I felt like this album really had an impact on popular culture. It was part of the conversation and it forced people to look at the experiences of queer people in music. You could actually have to sit down now and listen to it, whether you wanted to or not. It was in your face. And I felt that it did such a good job. And it wasn't just about party music and being hype and talking about sleeping with this one and that one. Yeah, we had those moments. But at the same time, you got to see him be reflective. You know, songs like Sun Goes Down and Tales of Dominica. And then, of course, you get to hear him, you know, be triumphant and in your face, you know, like Industry Baby. And then have those moments where he just expresses sexuality. When you hear songs like Montero, you know, you just got this great glimpse, not even a glimpse, a better, fuller view of a young artist who is empowered and putting his music into the world. So I gave you all a throwback song, and now I'm going to give you a throwback album. And that is none other than Jasmine Sullivan's reality show. Now, I first heard about this album back in 2015 when it was released. And everybody was telling me, listen, Trent, you had to listen to the album. Trent, please review the album. Please listen. Anytime people try to pressure me to do anything, anytime I think it's trending and I think it's too popular, it's too hot, I just kind of sort of pull away and back away from it. But in 2021, I rediscovered the record because, I got into Hotels, which Jasmine Sullivan put out, and I really liked the album. So I wanted to hear more of what Jasmine Sullivan had been up to. And I listened to Reality Show, and I was, listening to how the albums are different and how she's progressed and how she's grown. And one thing I would say about Reality Show felt like, I don't know what that noise is. Reality Show felt like Jasmine was really taking a look at her life and also taking a look at the world around her, almost like taking like jabs and making social commentary on the behavior of women in the world around her, almost looking at reality TV, reality show, and, just sticking holes in it. Whereas Hotels felt like she was bringing people into the story of the music, and she was really including the characters and allowing them to tell their own stories through the little narratives that were there, and she wrote the music around it. So I felt like it was two very different approaches to sharing the experiences of women, particularly Black women. But Reality Show for me, I really love, and I love both, but I really love Reality Show and how she performed it. And I would say what I loved about Reality Show is that it felt like musical theater. The way that she sang every song, it felt like she was embodying a character, and she sang each song in such an interesting and performative way. It felt like I was really listening to something that could have been a play. And each song had such a feeling. And when I think about songs like Mascara, and I think about songs like Let It Burn, and I think about songs like, of course, Hood Love, which is my favorite thing on the album. Well, that and Dumb. I love Dumb, but of course Meek Mill is on it, and Meek Mill has been a very interesting character, so I tend to skip his part. But when I listen to Hood Love, I love that song because when she's singing the song, she actually says, I will ride this bitch. And she says bitch with this very pronounced B. And it reminds me of Mimi from Love and Hip Hop years ago. Anytime CVJ would bring Jocelyn around, and she'd be like, you bring this bitch? Who slammed that door? Like Mimi in my house. Anyway, and she would say, you bring this bitch and this bitch and this bitch. And I was dying. So when I was listening to Hood Love, I was getting that vibe. And I was like, I wonder if she was watching Mimi on the TV, riding CVJ until the wheels fell off. I had the time of my life listening to this album, especially when driving in traffic. People was probably laughing at me. But this was my throwback album of the year. And that leads us to the final category, the Artist of the Year, the big award. Well, not award because I didn't have money for that. But this is the big honor for some people. And I'm giving this Artist of the Year to Lil Nas X. I felt that Lil Nas X, he really did something special. I felt like to see a young Black gay man be unapologetically young, Black, and gay, and own his sexuality, and of course blur the gender lines. He's playing in gender queerness. Like, he's really challenging so many different patriarchal norms and really challenging people's perspective of what it means to be young, Black, and gay, or just Black and gay, period. I feel it's amazing. And I feel like what he's doing is special because 5-6 years ago, I would have never imagined that this is where we would be. That we would have an openly and proud and bold young Black gay man at the top of the Billboard charts, getting #1 songs and having songs be the biggest songs in history, and have an album debuting in the top 5 and winning awards. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing how far we've come in such a short period of time. And I have to say that Lil Nas X is really inspiring. Not just for young people, but for anybody who really wants to just be themselves. Just the way that he interacts with the world. Remember, he used to be a Nicki Minaj fan, a super stan. Like, he was a troll. So he knows how to navigate social media and do it in such a way that people just can't one-up him. No matter how much hate comes at him, he's able to bend it like the Avatar. He's able to bend it and reframe it in such a way that is almost empowering. No matter what is said, he's able to really own it and take charge of his own narrative. I think it's fantastic. He really is something special to look at. Whether you like his music or not, it's really something to just sit back and just be in awe of him. And listen, the boy, he's of the time. So those are my big categories. My back hurting me. This chair is not built for sitting in long periods of time. It's a dining room chair. All you could see it. All right. Listen, my back hurting. So before I go, what I would like you to do is to leave your choices in the comment section below. You've seen the categories. So for each of those categories, leave your choices in the comment section below and we'll have a fun conversation. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed your music and videos and movies and TV shows throughout 2021. And I'm really excited to see what the new year will bring. Anyway, I'll catch you all next time, right? Later.